I'll start by telling you a little bit about who I am now. My name is Jordan Eaglebears, and if I was to describe myself as a fictional character, I think it would be Spock of Star Trek. I'm level-headed and I don't get excited or upset by things easily, but I wasn't always like that. I was born into a non-Christian family. My mom was single and I had an older brother. When I was 4 years old, my mom married my stepdad. I thought the idea of having a dad was exciting. That excitement soon changed as he became quite abusive, so I learned to be afraid of him. I believed that I deserved what I was getting for my misbehavior, even though I was quite well behaved most of the time. By the time I was 11, my mom had 2 more kids and was expecting a 5th. She went to the hospital to give birth to my little brother, but sadly he was stillborn. Right before Christmas is when that happened, so it was a time of pain for a long time. Everywhere I went, I walked with my head down. I became a target for bullying through my entire school life, and I didn't make any friends. When I was 13, my sister told a teacher that my dad had hurt her. So Child and Family Services stepped in and put all 4 of us kids into separate foster homes. I didn't see any of my family for years. I bounced between a couple of homes, one of which neglected me. When I was 14, I heard through my social worker that my stepdad had cancer. It was in his pancreas. Eventually he beat it. My mom had always had Crohn's, which is a disease of the intestines. Around the time my stepdad recovered, my mom's bowel ruptured, and she was in the intensive care unit for a long time. When I was 15, my stepdad's cancer came back in his liver and in his lymph nodes. They gave him 6 weeks and he was gone in 2. Right before Christmas again. My mom recovered after a long fight and is alive and well today. After my stepdad had passed away, Child and Family Services decided that my home was safe for us kids to return to. When I was 16, my mom bought some horses and I went to a horse riding camp at Turtle Mountain Bible Camp. I seemed to like it well enough, so my mom signed me up for Teen Week. I was surrounded by Christians who loved God, and they treated me like a friend. The cabin leader that week took me on what we call a one-on-one. His name was Colin. He was the first person to tell me God loved me and had a plan for my life. I didn't know what he meant, but I remembered it. I was impacted. I went home and told my mom all about my week. She saw that I had fun and sent me back next year. I had a lot of fun again and knew I would age out soon. So I wanted to go back one last time, while I was still young enough. After that 3rd and final summer camp, my mom asked them if I could come back as staff. They agreed. So at the end of summer 2010, I was 19, and I led activities with the kids for 2 weeks. I wanted to go back again. First week of summer 2011, I was on support staff. I led activities and had a lot of time to think about God and this whole faith thing. God was working on my heart. At the end of the week, I knew I had to be all in or all out. Nobody was with me, nobody prayed with me, but God got my yes and he was able to work with that. But things didn't get better. I went back home with no Christian support circle around me, no church to be plugged into. I felt alone and I became depressed. I started cutting and had suicidal thoughts. One day I went on a walk with a plan to end my life. I guess God talked me out of it because I never made the attempt. Though at the time I didn't know how to hear him. I got back to camp the next summer, 2012, and had scars on my arms that I was sorry for. I asked God to forgive me on the Monday of that week. On Thursday I noticed the scars were gone. I asked around for some way to plug into a church for when I get back home. A guy named Mike mentioned that Brandon University, where I was taking courses, had a Christian group called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, so I checked it out. I also found a church in Brandon, so I had some support that way too. Since then I have served TMBC for many years. I've grown so much spiritually and emotionally. God taught me that things that I had blamed myself for weren't my fault. I saw my cabin leader Colin again after a few years, and he said to me, "Wow, your eyes have changed. You used to be such an angry guy." I went through a lot of hard and dark stuff, but Jesus brought me through it. I can tell you that I'm 30 years old now. I have led 11 people to Christ. I serve on the kids team and youth team at a church in Brandon. And I have a close circle of friends. And just 3 months ago, I got married to my beautiful wife, Cassandra. Howard and Kathy, your mission here is solely responsible for my eternity in heaven instead of an eternity in hell. I'll never be able to thank you enough for what you do here. You raised up a leader in me, and now I'm raising up leaders myself.